Hi, oh gosh, losing my voice, aren't even started. Hi, beady friends. So, those of you who follow me on Sea Beads and Dreams over on Facebook will know that I've been having a mad do on these beauties. I absolutely love them. I saw a picture, I believe it was on Pinterest, and I thought, wow, I really love those. Not exactly the same as mine, different innards, etc. Innards, when I mean this little, the closed jump ring in the centre there. So I'm not copying anybody's work, these are all my own. But I just absolutely adore them. Look at those. And they're so cute on. Ooh, I love them. So I've done some in greens, in purples, in blues, in blacks, in yellows, and I absolutely adore these yellows with spring coming up and summer. We've got summer to look forward to. Absolutely gorgeous. And some pinks. I absolutely love them. Now, what I have done with these is these ones are done with seed beads, varying in sizes. So I have 11 seed beads, 8 seed beads, and little 15 seed beads for the little picot and the little loop at the top where the jump ring and ear wire goes through. And I've also made some in delica beads. So 11 delicas with 8 seed beads, little 15s for the picot and for the loop at the top again. And I just think they give them, if you look at them either side, they do give them a little bit of a different look. Now the stitch we're doing is brick stitch. Those of you who've never done brick stitch before, do not fear. Jane is here and I intend to help you out and take away any fears you may have. I just realised a bit dark. I'll put the light on. Oh, that's a bit better. And we will do this stitch together, okay? So I'm going to pause the video, get rid of these, and then show you what we're going to be doing today. Right then, so this is what I've made already. I've already made the left one, or it might be the right one. Just my bit of silliness. And I've done this in 11 OC beads with 8 O's. Not seed beads, sorry, delica beads and little 11 O's. Okay, and we're going to look at what we need to make the other one, and then you can go ahead and make a pair. Okay, because I wanted to have a pair to show you at the end. So I'm just going to put that there. Okay then guys, for today's project, if you don't have delica beads, you can use seed beads. And you want two colours, two contrasting colours of seed beads. Like I've already said, today I will be using delica beads. And I have a nice deep shiny red and a matter red, lighter red. I have some 8O white pearl salon seed beads. And I have some tiny 15 seed beads for my picot and my loop for the ear wire to attach to. You will also need 2 jump rings. These are size 5mm jump rings, and you will also need a pair of ear wires. And for the centre, which is what this is here, for the centre there, you will need a closed jump ring of some kind. Now this is a 14mm one. You can use whatever size you have. It just means that the counted beads would be different, is all. Okay, so I have a 14mm decorative closed jump ring. Well, you can't really call it a jump ring, can you? But there you go. To complete your project, you will need some thread. Today, to match my beads, I am using KO thread, but you can use fireline, Nymo, 1G thread, whatever thread you have. But today, to match my beads, I am using the red from KO brand. You will need a pair of scissors to cut your thread, and you will need a pair of pliers, jewelry making pliers, not ones from your husband's toolbox, to open and close the jump rings. Okay, when we put the piece together. Alright, so get your bits together and we shall begin. Alrighty then, so you've got all your beads laid out. I've got a frog in my throat. I'm just recovering from a virus that seems to have taken Cornwall, the area I live, by storm. Everybody I know's had it, and it leaves you with a nasty cough that I've had. Well, I had the virus for 2 weeks and I've had this cough for 3 now. So I do apologise, I have got a drink. Right, so with no further ado then, we take our closed jump ring, whatever size it is, and thread a tail end of our thread, chosen thread, through the hole. Now we're just going to attach this to our jump ring using double overhand knots, so it's gone over once, going through the hole a second time with my tail end, which is harder to do on camera than what you can imagine. Okay, and oh, and then she drops it, so she needs to start again. So through the loop, one overhand knot, 2, and then pull, and try and get your knot down the bottom end towards the inside of your ring, or on the side. Okay, and we're just going to do that again to make sure we fasten it nice and tightly and securely. So over once and twice and pull. There's my knot on there, and just try and manoeuvre it down. There we are. Now if you want to, you can add a little dab of glue on there, but that's entirely up to you. Right, okay, so I've still got my thread attached to my spool, so what I'm going to do now is measure out an arm span of thread. And an arm span means taking your hands nice and wide across your chest, and that will give you an arm span of thread, and that is ample. And the main thing that we need when we are going to bead is a needle, guys, isn't it? I forgot to put this on the list, so you will also need a needle. Now your needle doesn't have to be bent like mine, but my needle is bent because I've been using it so much. Okay, right, flatten out the end, bring our needle down, and there we go, threaded our needle. So we don't want our thread too long, as you can see it's going to be in our way. Moving our tail end, and we'll cut it off at the end. There's black on my nail. Must be thread. Right, I'm going to start off then, just copying what I've already done. So I need the lighter red. So when you brick stitch, you always start off the round. Let me bring you in a little bit. That's nice and close. You always start off around using 2 beads. So picking up then either 2 delicas like myself or 2 seed beads, put them onto your needle, holding your jump ring between your thumb and finger, pass the needle through the centre of your ring, pull the thread, and you'll see that they lie side by side, but they're not lying the right way side by side. Can you see they're lying the wrong way? So how we sort that out is by putting our needle through the bead, pull our thread through, give a little tug, and you can see that one is almost standing up on itself. So we just then come back down the bead next to it, and then we need to come back up, pull our thread through, give a little pull and a little wiggle, and that will ensure that our beads are next to our ring, and that's where we want to be. So our first 2 beads are on our project. How to carry on then with brick stitch is now we only pick up 1 bead. Okay, so let me just move that out of the way so the camera doesn't focus on it. So we have just 1 bead on our needle. Our thread is exiting the top of the bead. Pass the needle through the centre of our loop, pulling our thread down. And we can see now that that bead has popped in next to it, but we need to secure it. So our thread is coming from the centre of our circle, of our ring. So we need to pop our needle through the bottom of the bead, pull the thread through, and we now have 3 beads. Pick up a bead, go through the centre of our ring, making sure that that bead stays on the outside of the ring. We don't want it in the centre of the ring. Our thread is coming out of the centre of the ring. Our bead is there. We're just going to pop our needle through the bottom of the bead we've just added and pull our thread through. This isn't a race if you're just learning the stitch. This isn't a race. Take your time. Move the ring around as you're working. Our thread is coming out the top of the bead that we've just added. Our next bead is on our needle. We come through the centre of our ring, pull our thread through, our bead pops in nicely next to it, our thread is coming out to the centre of our ring. Now we need to attach that bead onto the ring just by putting our needle through the bead. pull our thread through. Now you need to give your work a bit of a pull. You need good tension, otherwise your work will just be all floppy. But don't worry if you're just learning. That's what it's all about. Practice makes perfect, okay? So don't worry about it. There's no harm to anybody or anything. It isn't hurting anyone. But to give good tension, just pull your thread over to the left. Okay? We've got another bead on through the centre of our ring. Pull that thread through. The thread is coming out of the centre of the ring. We're now going to go up through the bead, and that secures the bead onto our ring and where it wants to be. Okay, I'm going to pull a little bit of thread through my needle, and we're just going to carry on, guys, until we've got all the way around. Okay. Our bead is on our needle, coming behind and through the loop or through our ring. Pull our bead down, up through the bead. Turn our ring round as our work progresses. Taking a bead through the ring. And back up through the needle. Back up through the bead. Needle. And pulling our beads over. Okay. Pick up a bead. Coming from behind through our loop, our ring. Pull our thread down. And from the front, taking our thread through and just taking over to the left with our thread. Secures everything. Taking a bead from behind, pull it through, needle from the front, from the bottom to the top of our bead, and taking our thread over to the left. Pick up a bead from behind, through the loop, through the hoop, through the ring, from the bottom to the top with our needle. And taking our thread over. Pick up a bead, in my case a delica, could be a sea bead for you. Taking a bead from the back. If our bead tries to go behind, just gently pull it round, tease it round with our fingers. Don't be scared, nothing bad's going to happen. Take a bead from the back, through the front. Wrap it round your finger. No, don't do that. From the front, and the bottom, through the top. Don't let your tail get caught in. Are we now halfway around, guys? Take a bead. Once you get proficient at this stitch, you'll be making so many of these, and you don't need an awful lot of supplies to make these. A cap full of beads is plenty. From the back, from bottom to top, and give it a wiggle. Okay, pick up our bead from behind, through our ring, from bottom to top of our bead. Give a wiggle. From behind, through our ring, from bottom to top, pull our work through. Give a wiggle. From behind, from bottom to top, give a wiggle. A bit more thread through. 3/4 of the way. You're thinking, oh my gosh, if you're new to brick stitch, what's going to happen at the end? Stick with me and you'll find out. Ooh! Drop your needle. Oh. Take it over to the left. Not far now. From behind, in front, pick up our bead, give a wiggle. Behind to the front. A wiggle. Nice tension. From behind. Through the bead. Nice tension. Nearly there now, guys. Now, when you're doing a brick stitch, the big decision you will need to make is when you come into an end of a row. How many beads do you think you can get in there comfortably? Now I think it's going to be 1. So I've got a little bit of a gap. Put my bead through. Up. Yes, and that is our first round nearly done. But you can see, if you look closely, let me bring you in a little bit. If you look closely, where we've been stitching our beads on, we have what we call thread bridges. And they're the little threads that have joined each bead together. Now this one, as you can see, we've just put our last one on, isn't joined to our first one. So what are we going to do? We're just going to pop our needle down. You can see our threads coming out from the bead we've just added. We're just going to pop our needle down and then back up the bead, the last bead in our round. Give it a nice little pull and that pops it into place. But I'm just going to go back in to the very first bead of the round, and I'm going to come up to its neighbour, and there we have our first round of beads. Now I like to turn, you don't have to, but I like to turn. So the idea now then of brick stitch is, you're thinking to yourself, well, if you're new to this, well, we've just managed to wrap all our beads, our thread, through the centre ring. How on earth are we going to have big bits of thread coming down to our centre ring? How are we going to join? How are we going to put on our next round? And the easy answer to that is, we're going to just pass our needle through the thread bridge. So I'm going to pick up 2, because remember with brick stitch on a new row you always have 2 beads to start your new row. Okay, come through the thread bridge, take our needle and go up and pull, and they sit next door to each other. Okay, so take another bead, go under the next thread bridge with our needle, come through and back up the bottom to the top of the bead we just added, and give a little wiggle. Pick up a bead, go through the thread bridge, under the thread bridge, pull our bead down and going under and out the top of the bead that we've just added, a little wiggle, pick up a bead, come under the thread bridge, just joining the next 2 beads together, from bottom to top. A little wiggle. Pick up our next bead, under the next thread bridge, pull our thread down and up through the bead we've just added. Give a little wiggle. Okay, and we're just going to carry this on all the way around. Picking up a bead, going through the thread bridge or under the thread bridge and popping our needle up the bead we just added. Pick up a bead, through the next thread bridge and needle up. Sometimes, like now, we might need to make a decision of, if I put my bead under this thread bridge here, there might be too much of a gap between the 2 beads. So what you can do is share the thread bridge that you've just used. Okay, this is all about practice of whether you should or not, and in this case I should. Pick up a bead under the next thread bridge, keep your tail out the way. I'm going to chop that off actually now because it's getting in my way. Ooh. Okay, pick up the next bead under the next thread bridge and pull your bead through. Every so often give your work a little squeeze, and that just makes sure that the beads sit in the right position. pick up a bead under the thread bridge, don't make a knot like I've just done. Okay, just going to zoom back out a bit now. I've just realised I've been in. Okay. Under the thread bridge, back up from bottom to top, and give a little wiggle. Under thread bridge, through the bead, and you share the thread bridge on this one because the gap would be too small, too big. So it's just practice, guys. It's nothing to be scared of. It's just practice and confidence of knowing where your beads are going to land. And you'll see why it's called brick stitch, because they look like rows of bricks. That's why it's called brick stitch. Under the thread, out the top, give a wiggle, through the thread bridge, out the top, give a little wiggle, through the thread bridge, out the top, wiggle. We've just come out of out of Storm Freya down here in Cornwall, but well, I say Cornwall, it's hit all over the UK. Been bad snow up north. Times like that, I'm pretty glad that I live in Cornwall. We haven't had any snow, although it's not supposed to snow much here in Cornwall in the UK, but this time last year we had a lot of snow, an awful lot of snow, and Cornwall was cut off. None of the shops got any of the goodies. We couldn't get no veg, no taters, no milk. Terrible. Whole of Cornwall was cut off. I hope you're safe and nice and warm wherever you are. Nearly finished, guys. Nearly done this row. So we have to decide shortly how many beads we can fit in at the end. And I'm going to go one bead, sharing the thread bridge with the original first bead that I put on this round, coming down, joining our bead up, and to make that thread bridge over these two beads, I'm going to come down the very first bead that we added on this round and go up the very last bead we just added, and it's not looking very square, so I'm going to go down the bead before it and then come back up that bead, and that's looking a lot better. And again, I like to turn, so I'm always working to the right. I like to turn my way round. So I was going that way, now I've turned it round and going that way. So I'll let you catch up, and the next thing I'm going to add on are the 80 seed beads. Right, hopefully you're all caught up now and on to the next stage. Next stage is our 80s. Now these need to be seed beads, 80 seed beads. Okay, so picking up 2, remember always in brick stitch you always pick up 2 beads. Coming from the back through the next thread bridge. Remember we talked about thread bridges? Through those thread bridge, pull our thread through and up our 80 seed bead. Give it a little wiggle. That black's really annoying, man. I think I know what it is. I just finished making this bracelet before I came on to the tutorial, and I was burning off threads with a lighter and it's singed my nail polish. It's about right. Okay, back to the beadwork. Pick up 1 80, coming over to the next thread bridge, coming through and up our seed bead, our 80 seed bead. Give it a wiggle, and this is all we do through the next thread bridge. Pull our thread through, up, through the bead, thread bridge, thread bridge, A2 seed bead, thread bridge, through the thread bridge and up our bead. Thread bridge. Still got that throat cough. Excuse me. Thread bridge. Through bottom to top. Always bottom to top. Always through a thread bridge. Thread bridge, bottom to top, and with the 80s you'll find it goes really quickly. Thread bridge, bottom to top. Well, I never good having a frog in your throat when you're supposed to be talking. Hopefully this virus or whatever it's been very similar to flu, with the aches and pains that this virus gives to you. Well, you don't want to hear about my ailments, do you? You just want to know about beads. Bottom to top. Ooh. drop your needle, always helps. And here we are back at the beginning, where we're just going to pick up 1 8/0 through the thread bridge, up the bead, and again you can see quite clearly now with the red on the white how the thread bridges work. So we need to join our 2 beads together. So go down the original one, up the last one, give a wiggle and turn. Okay. So we started off with this colour, didn't we? So, and that's the colour we're going to end with. So as always, pick up 2 beads through the next thread bridge. You can see them really clearly on the white. Up through the bottom, out through the top, give a wiggle, and they're in place. Pick up a delica through the same thread bridge, guys, that we've just used, and up out to the top of the bead. Now you will find that you will be putting on 2 delicas in each of the thread bridges between the 8/0 beads, so that's nice and easy. So we haven't got to worry about our things getting too clumped together. Through the pull on our thread through the bottom, out the top, and using the same thread bridge, another C bead goes on, another delica goes on. Onto the next thread bridge then. We'll wiggle over to the left, using the same thread bridge, because we can get 2 delicas on 1 thread bridge of the 8/0 beads. And when you get proficient at this, again, if you're learning, take your time. It is not a race. I want you to have a nice finished piece of jewellery that you'd be proud of by the end. If you need to rewind and re-watch the video, please do so. Two delicas on the same thread bridge. Give your work a squeeze as you go. So as you can see, new thread bridge, needle through, bottom to top of the delica. Pick up a delica, same thread bridge as the other one, the last bead we put on, bottom to top. Moving on to the next thread bridge, first one on, second, moving on. Once you get proficient at this, in this pattern, you can make a pair of earrings in about an hour and a half. So nice little quick makes for you. Same thread bridge, bottom to top. Moving on to the next thread bridge, bead on, bottom to top. halfway around, guys. And then once we've done this, onto the picot. So if you're proficient in brick stitch, you can fast forward video to the picot bit, or you can stick with me and see how we go. Giving your work a little squeeze as you go around. Sun's come out. It's been absolutely pouring down. Nasty, nasty wet rain. Ooh, just stabbed myself with the needle. It's always good. Bit of pain makes you realise you're still alive. Not long now. Coming to the final bits. Giving it a squeeze as we go around. Bottom to top. Bottom to top. This is a great project as well if you've got a small amount of beads that's not enough to do a bracelet or necklace or something, that you can use to you can use all them small bits of odd beads you've got. Okay, we're on to the last little bit now. Can we fit one or two in? Let's have a look. I've got a feeling it's going to be one. Yes, one. So we've just added our last bead. Thread's coming out of there. We need to make a thread bridge, so we're going to come down the very first bead that we put on in this round and back up our bead, our last bead. And there we have our disc, and now we're going to add on these little picots. Okay, so get your size 15 beads together and we'll make the picot. So coming out of our bead, then turn excuse me, 2 15 OC beads. Now we're not going to go through thread bridges now, we're going to go through beads. So I'm just going to pull you in a little bit just so you can see. Just pull my sleeve up. Alright, okay. So our thread is exiting this delica here, and we're going to come down into the very next delica and out. Okay, pull our 2 little beads down. Now we're going to go back through that delica and the 15 OC bead. Okay, this is to make our little picot and pull. So we need to then pick up another 15O, and we're going to come down the second 15 OC bead, out of the delicate, out of the delicate below that 15 OC bead and pull. And that gives us a nice little picot. We're going to go directly up with our needle into the delicate beside it. Pick up 2 15 O's and go into the delica and only the delica next to it. Back again then through the delica to the left of where our thread's coming out and the 15 OC bead. Pick up a 15 O, passing through the next 15 O and the delica directly underneath. Pass our needle down and go up the next delica beside it. You know what's coming? 2 15 OC beads and go through the very next delica beside where your thread is coming out of. Going back up that delica, the first delica and the seed bead, the 15 OC bead, pulling our thread through, pick up 1 15 O and go back down through the 15 O and the delica. Now you might like just having 3 little picots on the bottom, but I'm going to have 6. So I'm going to needle up into the next delica beside. Woo! Get knots in my thread. Two 15 O's. Back into the delica next to where my thread is exiting. Back into the first one and the 15 O delica. Pull. Pick up 15 O through the 15 O and the delica. And you've got 4 picots done. So I'm going to have 6 on this one to match my other. 2 15 O's into the delica next to where your thread is exiting. Up into the delica and the 15 O. Pick up 15 O and out through the next one. Pick up 2 15 O's into the next delica. $15 and into the next delica. Okay, so now we have 1 2 3 4 5 6 little picots around our earring, and now we've got to get up to the middle. So how we do this then is we come back down through the 8O that's below and go up the neighbouring 8O and only the 8O. Just move the beads out of the way if you're struggling just to get through. 8O, 8/0. We're just travelling around now to find my thread's tangled a bit. I'll just undo my thread a bit. There we go. To get to the centre of our earring. And how we find the centre is if we come in between where these three are, 1, 2, 3, bring our needle up, and we need to be coming out, getting our thread to over here. Okay, so I've got a couple more beads to go yet, so I'll come back through the 8/0, up through the next 8/0, and I know that I must be near now, so I'll come down the next 8/0, again come in between the 3, so I'm there, so I need to go up through the next 8/0 and the delica. Okay. Next then is we pick up 9 15 OC beads. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got 9 15 OC beads on our needle, and we just go down directly into the delica next to where our thread is coming out of. Okay, go back up the first delica and go up 4 of our 15 OC beads. If you don't get all 4 straight off, don't worry, just continue until you have. Okay, now we're going to miss that little one in the middle, that one there, we'll pop it up in a second, and we're going to skip a 15/0. We're going to come down the next 4 and the delica below. Okay, if our thread has pushed it down, just put your needle in and pop it up, and that will give it a nice little lift at the top. Come back through the delica, and we're just reinforcing now. We're on the home front, back up through those 4, miss that one in the centre, and down through the next 4 into the delica. Okay. Making sure the thread set. Okay. So now all we need to do is take our thread in and out the beads to secure it. So I'm going to come down that 8/0, up the next 8/0, down the next 8/0, and the delica below, up the next delica, and oh, it's not gone through the 8/0, it doesn't matter, just all these passes, down the next delica beside it, up through the next one and through the 8/0. Just be careful you don't catch your thread on the picots. Down the next 8/0, and it's automatically gone into the next delica in anyway. Up the delica and 8/0, and through the 8/0 and the delica, and that should be enough where you can cut off your thread. If you want to carry on and pass your needle through some more beads, then please go ahead and do so. I'm just going to widen the camera. Oop, zoom, 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 outie, outie, outie. And I've lost my slipper. Where's that gone? Under my chair. There we are. Right, so then, all we need to do now then is get these bad boys onto some ear wires. I'm just going to move my beads out of the way. Just so the camera doesn't zoom in too much on those. Them out the way. They can stay where they are. Okay guys, so there's your pair of earrings almost made. So now we just need to bring in our jump rings and our ear wires. One of my ear wires is, there we are. Okay. Excuse me. And we need to get our pliers into play. So we pick up a jump ring, opening it from north to south, never from east to west. Okay, popping the jump ring through the loop of our earring and into the loop of our ear wire, and closing that jump ring up, and we have our first earring done. Taking our second jump ring, opening from always north to south, never from east to west, popping it through our beaded ring, pop on our ear wire, closing our jump ring, and there you have your pair of earrings. What do you think then, guys? Do you like those? My American friends could make red, white and blue ones. My English friends could make red, white and blue ones if they wanted to. But I've just made red and white ones because I thought they were quite pretty and spring-like. Ready for the summer. You could go on to make a pendant out of this design, just by, what I would do is probably add another row of delicas or seed beads, and then add another row of 8/0s. It will take it out here, and then I'd probably put the picot all the way around. We're just leaving a space to make our ring, to make it into a necklace, and then you can make a pendant. So there you are then, guys. I hope you've enjoyed today's little tutorial. I hope you go on to make many, many colours like I have. Yeah, I hope you go on to make lots. I've really enjoyed making these. Something simple to do. Once you've learnt the technique of brick stitch, you'll be away and you won't have to worry about anything. If it is that you want to have a recap, please do just just go back to the beginning of the video and re-watch. If you'd like to subscribe to me, I'd be extremely grateful to you, all new subscribers. If you'd like to drop me a message or a comment below, please do so. Always love to hear from you. And my next video, I think I'm going to make a little tutorial on this very simple design. Nice and easy for beginners. I made this one in blue, and I also made one in pink. So I made the pink one using cubes and the blue one using So that might be my next video from myself. I hope you've really enjoyed this video. Please do drop me a message. I'd love to hear what you've got to say. If there's anything you're unsure about, drop me a comment and I'll do my best to enlighten you further. Like I say, any problems, you didn't get to see it quite clearly, go back to the beginning of the video and watch it all again. Fantastic. Please do give me a thumbs up as well, guys. I really appreciate it and it helps me to get seen on YouTube. So until next time then, guys, take it easy. If you're ill, I hope you get better soon. If you've got bad weather, I hope the sun comes out really, really quickly for you. And for me, it's goodbye till next time. Cheers then, guys. Bye for now.